Puncture. No?
01, yeah, 04, 26.
No. What?
9 minutes slower
Then who?
than all the rest of them. Ian's at 109. You sure I calculate it properly?
Yeah.
Time 7:46. I got the 9 baje hai. हाँ देख 46. 7:46 minus 9. 1 hour.
What time do you have for the stage?
So 1 hour 14.
1 hour 14:26.
1:14:26.
Yeah, that's what we have.
And Duncan has 109.
109:26.
Maybe we had more rain. We had a lot of rain in the.
Possible. It's become wet.
We had many in the 20, the 31st kilometers was flooding. A lot of rain.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
They must have gone through the dry.
One of the shorter stages at 48 kilometres, the run from Caggiardo was fast and smooth. Jeff Bell was quick, recovering from the frustration of the first stage and showing what the Z could do. A little local knowledge didn't hurt either, as he went joint fastest with Duncan. Duncan was enjoying a puncher-free run for the first time and extended his lead over Blomqvist. Alistair Kavanagh had got stuck in the first stage and was third fastest on this, the Viking Escort running smoothly on the fast stage. Alan de Mervius was the surprise of the stage, going 7th fastest. He was down in 37th, but enjoyed the chance to attack on the short, smooth run. The last stage of the day started off smooth, but the last half was extremely rough and rocky. Bell was quickest again. He would end the day 9th, but with just under 3 minutes separating him from Lloyd in 6th. Duncan was 2nd fastest and was somewhat relieved to arrive at the night halt without having had a puncher all day. He now held a 1 minute 44-second lead over Blomqvist. Blomqvist had lost time, stuck behind a stone lorry, but was still 4th fastest. Kavanagh was once again 3rd quickest, but was now out to have fun and get to the finish. If the service crews thought they would have an easy day, there were plenty of repairs to be done after another hard day of rallying. Day 7 took the cruise around Mount Longonot and then north to the Soi Sambu Conservancy. It was a chance to enjoy some closed sections, but drivers would need to be wary of the abundant wildlife as they travelled through the game sanctuaries. It was a short day, but by no means easy. There had been overnight rain, but the morning dawned bright and clear. Mount Longonot was out in all its glory, and the game in the normally quiet conservancy was about to be blasted by the sound of rally cars. Duncan started first on the road, which should have been an advantage, but hit a rock and punctured. They were getting good at changing wheels and managed it in under 2 minutes to maintain their road position. Blomqvist was second fastest and might have been quicker had he not got caught up in Duncan's dust towards the end of the stage. He pulled back 1 minute and 47 seconds to close the gap to 1 minute 3 seconds to the leader. Demervius was quickest, gradually clawing his way back towards the top 10. Already by 7th on the road, the fine surface was beginning to break up, revealing the thick dust underneath. Jeff Bell punctured towards the end, but still managed the 5th fastest time, picking up from where he left off the previous day on max attack. The road surface deteriorated rapidly, and for the cars further back, the thick dust was getting increasingly harder to wade through.
No, they're gone home.
Porsche. The RX Porsche.
Mazda's gone home.
I just saw the back. This is the BMA Porsche. Got momentum.
Bernard Munster also spent the day in the service park after the gearbox blew 3 kilometres into the stage, and they were stranded waiting for all the other competitors to go past, dropping him to 35th overall.
It's the end of the first stage. Unfortunately, we didn't make it out of the stage.
No, well, after 2 kilometers, I had a problem with the gearbox stuck in 4th gear. Couldn't get any other gear, and unfortunately, on that stage was very sandy. Low speed, very soft sand, and it's impossible to drive only with 4th gear. So we couldn't make it, so we had to. And unfortunately, that stage was also private territory, so the service van could not reach it. So we had to wait until all the cars passed. So now we are repairing. So that's it. We are not gonna be able to drive any stage today, I think.
That must be very disappointing for you.
Yeah, it is. But you know, it's a tough rally, and it's all little things. We had an issue yesterday with the gearbox. With another gearbox, we had no third gear, so we changed this with a brand new gearbox, and the brand new gearbox just didn't last for 1 kilometer, which is really annoying. But that's rally.
We'll be back in again tomorrow.
Yeah, definitely. We'll be back.
The planned rerun of the Kidong stage was cancelled after it was deemed impassable, which meant that Soi Sambu would be the only other stage of the day. It proved as difficult as any on the event so far. Several deep river crossings and some tricky navigation on grassy tracks in the Conservancy was followed by a rough, rocky section to the end. Göransson set yet another fastest stage time. The Swedish touring car champion had adapted well to the conditions, and Emil Axelsson guided through the tricky sections without fault. They were almost a minute faster than Blomqvist. Second fastest was enough to put Blomqvist back in the lead. He had taken a further 2 minutes off Duncan to end the day a minute up. Duncan once again punctured, costing him the lead, and would once again be chasing Blomqvist, although being second on the road might not be so bad. De Mervius would end the day in 11th, after setting the fourth fastest time and only 13 seconds off 10th place. Steve Perez was on a charge with the horses closing in on his fourth overall spot and went fifth fastest to once again open up a cushion over the Porsche. Jean-Michel Martin got through the river crossing without a hitch and set the sixth fastest time, moving him up to 18th overall at the end of the day. Despite the engine coughing to a halt in the river and losing 2 minutes, Kavanagh still managed the seventh fastest time. The crew were now focused on individual stage times. Patrick de Frahan went 8th fastest, another impressive performance on this difficult stage, moving the Tuthill driver up into an impressive 13th overall. Chagger punctured after hitting a rock. It was a quick change and he still managed the 9th fastest time. They would end the day in 6th overall. Francois Kick set the 10th fastest time, despite running way down the order amongst the slower cars. However, earlier problems meant they were still 42nd overall. Despite being the shortest day on the rally, it had still been a tough one, and crews were happy to get back to the Sopa Lodge for the overnight halt.
You were enjoying that stage so much?
Not really. Yeah, for sure. It's a bit of a game because. Hello, John. So short day, good day. Yeah, we pushed a bit in the first one, but we find it quite nice. But we knew that you can never do it twice because it was already so soft for us in the top 10. So it was not possible to.
Day 8 took the crews backwards from Mayor's Farm along the same route they'd driven in the opposite direction on day 6. The second stage took the crews across the plains from Isinya via Konza station and out on the Mombasa road at Kew. The crews then had a long 245-kilometre transport section to Kishuhe at the base of the Taita Hills. Stage 3 ran through the Taita Hills once more, but was much more challenging than the previous sections from Ndi. Blomqvist had the honour of tackling the first stage at the front of the field. Undaunted and determined to extend his lead, he went fastest, a full minute quicker than anyone else. Duncan once again punctured, and as we ride on board with him, you can get a feel of how difficult the beginning of the stage was. He lost over 3 minutes and slipped further behind Blomqvist. Goranson went second fastest and was back up to 18th overall in the Team Tito Porsche. The stage-by-stage approach was working for Kavanagh, and with the escort on song, he set the third fastest time. Baldiv Chaga was on a charge to catch the horses and went fourth fastest, pulling back a minute on the rival Porsche. De Mervius took the conservative approach, not wanting to damage the car and risk losing a top 10 result. He was 7th fastest, but with a clean car. At only 68 kilometres, the Isinya stage started fast and smooth, but the last 10 kilometres would be extremely rough. Duncan went quickest, passing Blomqvist, who had punctured. Knowing he was now in the lead, he pushed to increase the gap, beating the car over the rough and having to change the front suspension at the end of the stage. Blomqvist lost over 4 minutes with a puncture, and once again the titanic struggle between the leading pair had swung in his opponent's favour. This was not a typical safari, and the pair were separated by seconds. After a 245-kilometre trek down the Mombasa road, the crew still had one momentous challenge to face: the daunting prospect of the Taita Hills before the final night stop at Sarova Taita Hills Lodge. The scenery might have been stunning, but Blomqvist wasn't looking out of the window. He was second fastest, losing a further 3 seconds to Duncan, but incredibly, after over 3,000 kilometres of rallying, the pair were separated by just 9 seconds. Duncan was fastest to head into the final day, with a 9-second lead and a mountain of pressure. He would be first on the road and have to wait to see what his rival was doing at the end of each stage. De Mervius was second fastest, only 2 seconds slower than Duncan. All the hard work was paying off, and he would end the day back in 8th overall. Chaga was again fourth fastest and would end the day just 16 seconds behind the horses. With this battle going on, Steve Perez's fourth position was coming under pressure, and the Englishman put his foot down and set the 5th fastest time. Bernard Munster was afraid to look under his car. Not wanting to inspect the damage, he was 6th fastest, but his Porsche was looking a little tired. As the crews arrived at Sarova Taita Hills for the final night stop of the event, there were a lot of tired men emerging from some very tired cars.
By far the toughest day of the 2 safari that I've done, because it's been raining yesterday apparently in the mountains. So the washaways, I mean the roadbook is, some are in the roadbook but some are really new. So you have to be careful and
Hard day today.
Ridiculous day. The last stage, that's absolutely crazy. That's no rally. That's a stage you can call it how to destroy your car in 30 minutes. That's the only thing you can do on that stage. It's really, really, really ridiculous. The stage before is a nice part, but then you have a part of 15 kilometers that is exactly the same. I don't have any fun on that road. It's only destroying cars. That's only it can do. So I'm really disappointed in some stages. And I'm not the only one.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But did the gearbox held together today?
No, the gearbox is fine now. It's great. We were really unlucky yesterday, and we had a failure of a brand new gearbox. We put a brand new gearbox in, and it broke after 1 kilometer. And unfortunately, that's rally. So now it's fine. I have no problem. The car is okay, but it's hurting me that this car was brand new before the rally, and now it's knackered.
In the battle between the leaders, Duncan could be found in the service park working hard on his home-built Capri. In contrast, Blomqvist had the might of the Tuthill team behind him. But in the end, what mattered was that there were 3 stages and only 9 seconds separating them and victory on the final day. The last day took the crews on 3 final stages. They would repeat the first day backwards through the Taita Hills to Ndee, through Rukinga Ranch to McKinnon Road, before a final stage to Majengo. Then drivers would divert around Mombasa Island through Ungatatu to Bamburi and the Sarova White Sands Hotel, where the finish ramp awaited. There had been heavy rain in the first stage since the crews had last run through on day 2. New washaways and gullies appeared out of nowhere, and the crews should have been cautious as not every hazard was in the roadbook. With 9 seconds separating them, Duncan set off on full attack and set a time of 29 minutes and 2 seconds. It was over a minute slower than the time set by De Mervius on day 2, illustrating the change of road conditions, but it was the fastest. Unbelievably, Blomqvist came through second on the road. He had Duncan's lines to follow, but he set an identical time, 29 minutes and 2 seconds. The pair were still separated by 9 seconds as they stopped for service at the end of the stage.
Right. Any problems in that this morning?